My child, prepare your heart, because I need to show you something happening in the unseen right now. There is someone thinking about you so intensely that they can no longer keep their own mind at peace. On the outside, they are still working, still talking, still pretending that everything is completely normal. But inside them, I see a storm growing stronger by the day. One song, one passing image, one unexpected moment of silence, and their thoughts pull straight back to you. They have tried to push these feelings aside. They have told themselves this is only a passing attraction, but what they will not yet admit is that you have reached a place in them that no one else has ever touched. So stay with me until the end, because by the time these words are finished, you will understand what is really happening behind their silence, and how to tell the difference between a love I am preparing for you and a confusion you were never meant to chase. Let me tell you what I see when I look at them. For a long time now, they have opened their phone, searched for your name, and then stopped themselves, more times than you realize. It is not because they have nothing to say, it is because they sense that one honest message could open a door they are not yet brave enough to walk through. They fear you may not feel the same. They fear they recognized the truth too late, but rejection is not their deepest fear. Their deepest fear is discovering that you may be the one person capable of changing the entire direction of their life. That is a weight they do not know how to carry yet. If you can believe that a heart is quietly turning toward you, type, "Someone's heart is turning toward me." Let me describe the storm in them more closely, because you cannot see it, and it would comfort you to know it is there. Every time they try to step back, something pulls them toward you again. Every time they decide to forget, your face returns. Every time they convince themselves they are finally in control, one memory of your voice breaks through, like light through a sealed room. They lie awake at night when the noise of the day has faded, and that is when the truth grows loudest in them. The truth that what they feel for you is not something routine can bury. They have compared it to other connections, and every shallow one now feels emptier by contrast. They have tried to name it as ordinary attraction, but attraction fades, and this does not fade. It feels almost familiar to them, as though their heart recognized something their mind is still trying to understand. That is why they cannot simply move on. You did not just catch their eye, you reached a place in them that had been sealed for years. And something sealed for years does not reopen quietly. And notice how differently they behave around you, because it is one of the clearest signs. With everyone else, they are fluent, easy, in control of every word. But with you, their words sometimes fail them, not because they have nothing to say, but because the connection is touching a place deeper than conversation can reach. They feel understood by you before they have explained themselves. They feel seen before they have revealed anything. That kind of recognition unsettles a guarded heart, because it means their careful walls did not work, that somehow you saw past the performance to the person underneath. Most people never get past their defenses. You did, without even trying, simply by being who you are. And a heart that has finally been seen cannot easily go back to hiding. And understand this, because it will change how you read everything. There is a signal moving between you and this person, and it has been there far longer than either of them has been willing to admit. It shows in the way their eyes stay on you a moment too long, in the sudden quiet that falls when you enter a room. In the small details about you they somehow remember without trying. They may act distant afterward, but distance does not erase what a spirit has already recognized. Something shifts in the atmosphere when you are near them. They become unusually calm around you, and strangely restless once you are gone. They can speak freely with everyone else, yet with you their words sometimes disappear, because the connection is touching a place deeper than conversation. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? That is from Isaiah chapter 43, verse 19. Even if no confession has been spoken aloud, something new has already broken open beneath the surface. If you can trust that their distance is not the whole truth, type, "Their distance is not the whole truth." And let me be honest with you about that distance, because I do not want you to misuse this word. Their pulling away is not by itself proof of love, and I will never teach you to read every silence as secret devotion, because that is how tender hearts get trapped, waiting on people who will never move. So hold this in balance. It is true that a guarded heart often withdraws precisely when it feels the most, retreating to protect itself from a closeness it does not know how to hold. But it is also true that some people withdraw simply because they are not ready, or not willing, or not the one. And you cannot tell which is which by how much you hope. You can only tell by watching what follows the distance. If the distance is followed, over time, by return, by honesty, by steadier presence, then it may have been fear, and fear can be healed. But if the distance is followed only by more distance, by silence that never turns into truth, then your peace must not be held hostage to it. So do not camp at the doorway of yesterday, waiting for someone who walked away to come back and explain why. Stay open, but do not stop living. The closure you may be waiting for is not always a conversation. Sometimes it is simply your own decision to stop letting someone's absence define your worth. Before I take you deeper, let me tell you how these words even reached you, because a waiting heart should know. You did not pay anything to receive this. It came to you freely, likely on a night the wondering sat heavy on you. And it came freely because someone who once waited exactly as you are waiting, unsure whether the connection they felt was real, found their peace and chose to sow a seed so that the next uncertain heart would hear this too. Tonight, you are that heart, so you owe nothing, and you simply receive. And if there ever comes a season when your own answer has arrived and I lead you to, you may pass it forward, sowing a seed of any amount so this word reaches the next soul waiting in the silence. And I make you this promise, even the smallest seed sown in love, I take up and make it matter far beyond its size. The link is there for whoever is led, only ever as a gift for the next heart, never as a price for a single thing I am speaking over you. Now hear the truth most people miss. They are not pulling away because they feel nothing. They are pulling away because what they feel is becoming too real to control. What they feel for you is no longer a passing emotion they can hide behind their routine. It is becoming a force pressing against every wall they built to survive. One moment they are ready to tell you everything. The next, fear seizes them, because they know one honest step toward you could change the course of their life. That is why their silence feels so heavy. It is not empty. It is crowded with words they are terrified to release. But hear me carefully, my child, because I will not let you romanticize confusion. Not every silence is my preparation, and not every distance is a divine pause. So do not build your peace on their hesitation. Watch instead for what actually changes. Real preparation eventually produces visible fruit. Their words grow clearer. Their actions grow steadier. Their presence stops feeling like a guessing game. If you can hold both truths at once, that a heart may be turning toward you, and that you will not live inside endless uncertainty, then you are already walking in wisdom. I know how easily a word like this can fade by morning. So if something in your spirit is stirring, do not let this be the last time my voice reaches you here. Subscribe, and turn on the reminder, not out of pressure, but so that when I speak the next word over what I am preparing for you, it finds you in the exact hour you need it. I am not finished showing you what is unfolding, and I do not want you to miss what comes next. Now let me show you the wound beneath their fear, because it explains everything. Long before you entered their life, they learned to survive by leaving parts of themselves untouched. They became skilled at smiling while holding pain behind their eyes, at keeping conversations light, at leaving before attachment became dangerous. Someone once made them feel replaceable. Someone taught them that love could arrive with promises and still leave destruction behind. So they stopped trusting tenderness. They began to believe that needing another person was a weakness, that opening the heart was the first step toward losing control. That history still speaks in them. It speaks when they want to reach for you and suddenly pull back. It speaks when your kindness touches them more deeply than they expected. It speaks in the seconds after a beautiful moment, when fear whispers that peace never lasts. They are not only reacting to what is happening now, they are reacting to memories that trained them to expect abandonment right after closeness. Their walls were not built in a single day, and they were not built without reason. Each stone carries the name of a disappointment, a betrayal, an unanswered cry, a night they had to become strong because no one came to comfort them. So when they hesitate, understand that you are not only meeting a person, you are meeting everything that person survived before you arrived, but their walls are beginning to fail, and that is the part they cannot explain. Your presence is reaching places they kept sealed, not because you forced your way in, but because something in your spirit does not resemble the chaos they once knew. You feel different to them, quieter, softer, more honest, and that difference is disturbing every lie they ever accepted about love. They braced themselves for another version of what wounded them before, and instead they found something that felt safe. And safety is the one thing their defenses were never designed to keep out. That is why the conflict inside them is intensifying. The silence that once protected them is starting to feel like a prison. They are discovering that the very walls that kept out the pain are now keeping out the peace. And a heart cannot stay behind those walls forever once it has felt what waits on the other side. He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. That is from Psalm 147, verse 3. You were never sent to become their savior, my child. That is my work, not yours, but your presence may be one of the ways I remind them that healing is still possible. If you can hold that with an open hand, type, I am not sent to be their savior. And let me tell you why your peace reaches them more powerfully than any pursuit ever could. You did not enter their life like a storm demanding to be noticed. You arrived more quietly than that. And somehow your quietness became stronger than anything loud. You did not chase them, pressure them, or force them to explain what they were feeling. You simply carried a kind of peace they had almost forgotten existed. Around you, they do not feel the same need to perform. They do not have to measure every word or brace for disappointment. Your presence does not feel like another demand on their shoulders. It feels like rest after years of emotional warfare. That is what unsettles them most. They expected attraction. They did not expect safety. They expected chemistry. They did not expect to feel understood without having to defend themselves. You are reaching the part of them that has lived behind armor so long, they almost forgot it was there, and you are reaching it not through control, but through gentleness, consistency, and the strange sense that your spirit recognizes their pain without turning it into a weapon. If you can see that the peace you carry is sacred, type, I am a sanctuary, not a guessing game. And notice what happens to them the moment they leave your presence. Because it tells the whole story. The room becomes colder. The noise returns. Their thoughts grow restless again. That is when they begin to understand that what they feel around you is rare. You are not simply someone they enjoy being with. You are becoming a sanctuary in their mind, a hidden place of peace they keep returning to whenever the world becomes too heavy. They may not have the words for it yet. They may not even fully realize they are doing it. But in the quiet moments, their mind drifts back to you the way a tired traveler drifts toward home, because you have become associated in their spirit with rest, and a heart that has known exhaustion does not forget where it finally found rest. This is why the connection keeps growing even in the silence. Every time they compare the peace they felt with you to the noise of everything else, the contrast makes you harder to forget, not easier. Let me pause plainly as the ministry that carries these words to you. Everything you received tonight reached you because someone before you made a way. Someone who once waited in uncertainty and chose to make it possible for the next waiting heart to find peace. Somewhere tonight there is another chosen one, wondering whether the connection they feel is real, aching for exactly this word. If I ever lead you, you can be the reason it reaches them, sowing a seed of any amount. So this word keeps traveling to the ones waiting in silence. You would simply be passing forward what was freely handed to you. The link is in the description and pinned in the comments, only ever as a gift for the next heart, never as a condition of your own. But now hear the warning wrapped in this word, because I love you too much to leave it out. You were never called to lose yourself while trying to heal another person. Your light is not permission for someone to remain confused forever. The peace you carry is sacred, and anyone who approaches it must eventually come with honesty. So do not mistake their inner battle for a reason to abandon your own dignity. Do not offer them endless patience, while they offer you only mixed signals. Watch the fruit, not the feeling. By their fruit you will recognize them. That is from Matthew, chapter 7, verse 20. Not their charisma, not their intensity, not the way your heart races when they are near, but their fruit. Do they speak honestly? Do they remain present after the emotion becomes real? Do they bring peace into your life, or more confusion? Preparation moves a person toward responsibility. Avoidance keeps them trapped in repetition. If you are ready to measure love by what it does and not by what it makes you feel, type, I judge love by its fruit, not its fantasy. Let me teach you to tell the difference clearly, because your whole peace depends on it. Preparation and avoidance can look almost identical from the outside for a little while, but they lead to opposite places. A person who is genuinely being prepared moves, over time, toward more clarity, more consistency, more responsibility. Their communication sharpens, their behavior steadies, their presence stops feeling like a riddle you have to solve. But a person trapped in avoidance only repeats the cycle. Warm, then cold, close, then gone, present, then vanished, and each time they return, nothing has actually changed except the words. So do not measure by the intensity of a single moment. Measure by the direction of the pattern over time. Is it maturing, or is it just repeating? A connection that is truly of me will bear the weight of honesty. A connection built on avoidance collapses the moment honesty is required. You already know, deep down, how to tell the difference. You have simply been afraid to trust what you sense, because hoping felt safer than seeing. But I am asking you to see clearly, because clarity is a mercy, even when it is not the answer you wanted. And guard your own heart while you wait, because this is where so many lose themselves. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. That is from Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. You do not have to chase what belongs to you. You do not have to beg to be valued, compete to be chosen, or live inside a cycle of hope and disappointment to prove your love is real. What is truly meant for you will not require you to shrink or to abandon your peace to obtain it. So keep your dignity intact. Keep your standards holy. You can remain open to what I am doing while refusing to be treated as a temporary shelter for someone who will not yet heal. If you are ready to stop chasing what you have to beg for, type, I will not chase what I have to beg for. I know how many voices are pulling at you, so let this not be the last time my voice reaches you here. Subscribe and stay close to this house, so that when I speak the next word over the love I am preparing, it finds you. I am walking you all the way through this, not just to the edge of it. And there is more I need to say to you before it is done. Now let me tell you about the moment their walls finally give way, and let me be very clear about what it is and what it is not. When that first kiss finally happens, it will not arrive like an ordinary moment. It will arrive like a verdict. Until then, they can still hide behind distance, logic, and the illusion that what they feel is manageable. But the instant it happens, every excuse loses its power. The walls they spent years building do not crack gently. They give way all at once, as though a sealed door has opened, and light is rushing through every place fear once ruled. But hear this carefully, my child, because I will not let this truth be twisted. That kiss does not cast a spell on them. It does not create a controlling obsession, and it does not bend their will against their heart. It gives them confirmation. It proves that the connection they feared was not imagined, that the peace they felt around you was not accidental, that the pull between you was never one-sided. What overwhelms them most in that moment is not desire. It is safety. For the first time, closeness does not feel like a trap, and vulnerability does not feel like defeat. That is why they cannot dismiss it afterward. They have tasted honesty, and honesty does not leave quietly. After that kind of moment, they try to return to ordinary life, but they find they are living in two realities at once. In one, they continue functioning, going to familiar rooms, having familiar conversations. In the other, every road inside them seems to lead back to you. They pick up their phone without realizing it. They begin to type your name, then stop, then erase it, telling themselves that silence will restore their control. It does not. Because this is no longer only about missing you. They are confronting the possibility that losing you would mean losing the first person who ever made closeness feel peaceful instead of dangerous. And that is a fear they cannot easily dismiss. What frightens them most is not simply that they want you. It is that you have become a mirror, showing them the life they could have if they stopped running, A life of honesty, stillness, and a love that does not demand performance. That is why the memory feels both beautiful and unsettling to them. It is calling them out of the darkness they know and toward a future they can no longer pretend they do not want. And their thoughts are no longer stopping at a single moment. They are beginning to move toward something more serious, into a future they once refused to imagine. They picture ordinary mornings with you, quiet conversations, shared laughter, the relief of being beside someone who does not require them to wear a mask, for someone who spent years guarding their independence. These thoughts are enormous. They are no longer thinking about temporary excitement. They are beginning to think about stability, loyalty, home. They are wondering what it would mean to build something that survives the storms instead of vanishing when life gets hard. And the question shifts in them from how do I feel to what must I become to keep something this rare. But remember, my child, that their imagining is not yet your assurance. A future pictured in someone's mind is only real when it is confirmed by what they do. So let their thoughts turn toward home all they will, and keep your own eyes on the fruit. If you can trust that I am preparing an honest love for you, whether through this connection or beyond it, type, God is preparing an honest love for me. Let me pause one more time simply, as the ministry that brings you these words. Everything you received tonight came freely, because someone who once doubted whether their connection was real found their answer and chose to make a way for the next heart to find peace too. Right now there is another chosen one, replaying a moment, wondering if it meant anything, who needs the exact clarity you found tonight. If I ever lead you, you can be the reason it reaches them, sowing a seed of any amount so this word keeps finding the ones caught between hope and fear. You would simply be passing forward what was freely handed to you. The link is in the description and pinned for you in the comments. Only ever as a gift, never as a price for your own peace. Now understand what happens after that moment, because this is where the truth is finally tested. They try to return to ordinary life, but ordinary life no longer fits them. The memory follows them into every quiet place. They cannot simply file it away as a pleasant moment, because it has become evidence. Evidence that what they felt was real, that you reached a part of them no one else could reach. But do not let that be enough for you, because feelings alone were never the sign. The true sign is what they do next. Their feelings may be powerful, but power is not the same as maturity. So watch whether their words become clearer. Watch whether their presence becomes steadier. Watch whether they begin to take responsibility for their own life, instead of returning only when loneliness becomes heavy. He has made everything beautiful in its time. That is from Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11. Divine timing does not mean endless waiting with no evidence. It means that when the right season arrives, what was hidden begins to produce visible fruit. If you can trust my timing more than your loneliness, type, I trust God's timing over my loneliness, and understand what has to happen in them before they can truly build with you, because it is the real work. The old version of them, the one who believed distance meant safety, is beginning to collapse. The habits that once protected them now feel unbearable. Temporary connections no longer satisfy them. Empty conversations no longer distract them. Every escape route leads back to the same truth, that they no longer want a life built around avoidance. They are beginning to ask themselves the harder questions. Why do I disappear when emotions deepen? Why do I go silent when honesty is required? Why have I let old wounds control my present choices? This is not a surface change, my child. It is a private reckoning. The moment the mask stops working and the excuses stop convincing even them, and in the days ahead, watch for the shift. Their voice may grow softer, but their actions will grow stronger. They may begin closing doors they once left half open. They may create distance from the people and patterns that kept them emotionally divided. Real transformation does not announce itself only with dramatic promises. It shows up in what a person is finally willing to stop doing. But I will say it again because your heart needs the guardrail. Watch for that transformation and do not invent it. If they return, they must return with purpose, with clarity, with the courage to remain present after the feeling becomes real. They will no longer be worthy of you if they only reach for you when loneliness grows heavy, offering affection one day and coldness the next. So do not accept the old pattern dressed up in new words. The turning point is not when they feel more. It is when they finally decide to become the kind of person who can be trusted with something this precious. Until you see that, keep your peace, keep your standards, and keep living your own life fully, because your wholeness was never supposed to be on hold while someone else decided whether to grow. And let me settle your own heart in all of this, because your peace cannot depend on their journey. Whatever they decide, you are not defined by whether they find the courage to choose you. I am preparing an honest love for you, one that does not arrive with confusion and coldness, one that does not require you to become smaller to be accepted. So while you remain open to what I am doing here, keep your eyes on the kind of love I have always intended for you, the kind that is consistent, honest, and safe. If you can believe I am preparing a love that will not make you shrink type, I will not shrink to be chosen, and let this settle the deepest place in you tonight. Your worth was never on trial in this connection. It was settled long before this person ever noticed you. Settled by me on the day I formed you and called you mine. So their recognition of your value does not create it, and their hesitation cannot diminish it. If they rise to meet what they feel, it will be a beautiful thing, and I will be in it. But if they do not, it will not mean you were less than lovely. It will only mean they were not yet ready to hold what I placed in you. Either way, you walk out of this season carrying the same worth you carried into it, untouched by anyone's inability to see it in time. That is the freedom I want for you. A heart that can love deeply and still remain whole, that can stay open without becoming desperate, that can hope without handing its peace to another person's fear. So receive this blessing over your heart tonight. I bless the connection I have allowed into your life, that if it carries my fingerprints, it would mature into honesty and not remain in confusion. I bless your discernment, that you would read the fruit and not be blinded by the intensity. I bless your dignity, that you would never abandon it while waiting for someone to find their courage. I bless the peace you carry, that it would remain sacred, offered freely but never taken for granted. I bless the wounds in the one whose heart is turning toward you, that I would do in the hidden places what your hands never could. I bless the safety they feel around you, that it would draw honesty out of them and not dependence. I bless the two realities they are living in, that the war would end in the light and not in more hiding. I bless the future they have begun to imagine, that if it is truly of me, their actions would rise to match it. And I bless you, my child, that whatever unfolds, you would end this season more whole, more grounded, and more certain of your own worth than you were when it began. What I am preparing with my own hands, no fear can permanently hold back, and what I am forming in you cannot be undone by anyone's hesitation. So carry this with you when you leave, and return to it on the days the waiting feels long, because it will. When their distance confuses you, remember that distance does not erase what a spirit has recognized, but also that you were never meant to live inside endless uncertainty. When your heart wants to chase, remember that what is truly yours will not require you to beg. And remember the one thing that matters most, that whether this connection becomes the love I intended, or simply the lesson that prepared you for it, you are worthy of a love that brings peace, and that love is not a fantasy. It is something I am preparing for you with intention. So do not shrink now, chosen one, and do not chase what has not yet chosen you. Stay open, stay discerning, and stay anchored in your own worth. Before you go, subscribe and stay close to this house, so the next word I speak over your heart finds you, and share this with someone you know who is caught between hope and fear over someone, because sending it may be the very thing that steadies them. And as your final declaration tonight, if your whole heart receives this word, type, I am ready for a love that brings peace. Someone's heart is turning toward you, but your peace was never meant to depend on theirs. Hold your worth, watch the fruit, and trust the one who is writing your story of love with far more care than you know.